Welcome back to my channel. This is Fuad. In this video, I'm going to show you a step-by-step build video of a cardboard pool table, as so many of you have requested before. Before I move any further, if you're looking for a simpler project to build, perhaps something more beginner friendly, I encourage you to check out my other video that I did a couple years ago. That pool table is made out of styrofoam and foam board, so if you're looking for something quick to build and more beginner friendly, that video is for you. But not to say by any means that this version is hard, not at all. All I'm saying is this project is a little bit more intense, requires a bit more effort, there's more cutting involved, it's also a little bigger, so if you're up for the challenge, stay tuned till the end. This project can be made entirely from cardboard, but I took a step further by buying a wooden flat sheet as the main surface for the pool table just to enhance the experience. Also, I'm going to be using these store-bought pool ball set that you can get from Amazon, as well as these pool cues that you can also get from Amazon. If you're looking for that ultimate pool experience, you can grab these for a reasonable price. I'll leave a link in the description box. But if you do want to make your own pool cues and your pool balls, I have a little clip in my other video that shows how you can do that as well. This will be a detailed step-by-step build video, so I encourage you to carefully follow along in the video. But if you feel competent in certain areas, feel free to skip ahead. I will be adding chapters in this video. Finally, the planner will be available in the description box, which has the measurements for all these pieces, so feel free to check it out, but you can even tweak in with the pieces because every build is going to be a little different. So without further ado, let's build. So the primary material for this project is of course going to be cardboard, but you don't want to just choose any cardboard. This is a corrugated cardboard, which means that it's a thick material. You can literally use your old fridge box or whatever you have laying around, or even get this for a cheap price. So I started off by cutting out the entire box and turning it into a flat sheet. Using my ruler, I traced out a beautiful rectangle, and I know that there are some creases around in the cardboard, but we'll deal with that later. So I have these two beautiful flat pieces of cardboard that I'm gonna join together, but before I do that, I'm just gonna cover some of these holes using some tape. So once you're satisfied, you can use your hot glue and just using a very thin bead to stick the two pieces together. Ensure that unlike the other aircraft projects that I do on my channel, weight is not an issue. So if you just use a lot of hot glue or a lot of tape, don't worry, it's just for the benefit. You want your project to be heavy. I also like to flip the whole thing around and apply more tape to the base. So I'm just making some reference lines for these cardboard pieces to sit on, and as you may have already guessed, this is gonna be the base for my pool table. So you want your base to be super rigid, very nicely supported, and very important, you want these cardboard pieces to be very symmetric. So if you have one of them little uncut, little bigger than the others, you're gonna have distortions in your performance. Very important step now is to add some weights to your pool table. So weights can be literally anything. At this point, I just have some broken closet pieces that I'm gonna attach to the base of this table. Basically, you can use anything you have laying around as long as it's heavy. So I called my lovely neighbor and he's just gonna cut these wooden pieces into smaller pieces. So now I'm gonna make the side pieces. So once again, since I don't have a long piece of cardboard, I have no other option but to attach two pieces of cardboard together to create a longer piece. And there's some fragility in the middle, so I decided to use some popsicle sticks to support that. Finally, when you have your piece ready, it's time to attach it using a bunch of hot glue. And you will notice that it's not really flush, so I'm gonna have to trim out just a little strip from the side, and that's gonna allow some room for me to put this longer piece into the table base. Once again, I repeat that all of these measurements will be provided in the description box in the planner, so be sure to check that out.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
To make sure this pool table lasts a lifetime, you want to make sure that you attach all of these pieces really well with the hot glue, making sure they're bonded like a family. If you've watched my other pool table project, you'll notice that the base design is very similar. So now it's time to attach the weights. I just distribute the pieces evenly out. In case if you're wondering, I'm using the Stanley Dual Melt Pro Hot Glue Gun. This is an amazing tool to have if you're making large projects like a pool table, for example. I'll leave a link in the description box from where you can get it. But I'm just wrapping up this base design by adding bits and pieces of cardboard strips. And when I mentioned this pool table project is gonna be taking a lot of effort, this is what I mean. You just have to have a lot of cuts, a lot of cardboard cuts, and this is gonna take a while, but ultimately the end process is just rewarding. At this point, I came across a problem where you can see that the base for this pool table is not entirely flat. There's a bit of a height, and what this is gonna do is create some drift in your shots, which really sucks, so you have to do something about that. And how is this caused? Well, you know, I was mentioning previously that your pieces need to be very well cut. Well, this is the scenario when these cardboard pieces, some of them have been undercut, presumably towards the edges, which is why this little lift has been occurring. And here's how we're gonna solve this issue. I'm gonna use my X-Acto knife and slice out the middle section for every single bit towards the center of the base. Next, I'm gonna use some pieces of popsicle sticks to fill in the gaps, and that elevated surface will now be diminished. Just find that sweet spot for the required number of popsicle sticks and basically glue and fill in the gaps. You don't really have to do the step unless you face the same problem as me. I'm now gonna grab a wooden flat sheet for the surface of the pool table. I'm really looking forward to that ultimate experience, for why I'm just decided to spend a couple dollars more. But you can make this surface entirely from cardboard as how you did with the base. I'm now gonna make these square reference lines, and I'm going to use this drill bit. Well, this is a circular drill bit, and this is going to be a perfect size in terms of diameter for the pool balls to roll on. These exact measurements are going to be again provided in the planner, so don't forget to check that out. You want to make 6 total holes, 4 on the corners and 2 in the middle. Of course, you don't want me to teach you what a pool table needs to have. So I grabbed this resistant material from Amazon. You need some resistance for the pool balls to roll on. You don't want to choose anything like a towel because that's going to be too resistant, but I feel this material is very nice. I'll leave a link in the description box from where you can get it. But now I'm just going to apply some hot glue to stick this entire fabric material onto the flat sheet of wood. I tried to use white glue to stick the fabric to the wood and it just didn't stick well, so the hot glue becomes my best friend once again.
Wake up, I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked.
You next want to flip this thing up and use your X-Acto knife to cut out the excess fabric.
No, you'll never be the same. I don't really want to hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the...
And it looks pretty clean. But we now want to cut out the holes, so I'm not gonna cut around the fabric, but rather kind of cutting it like a slice of pizza. And the reason why we're doing it is so that I can now apply little drops of hot glue and kind of stretch these slices and attach it really well with the wooden surface. And what it does on the other side, it establishes a very clean look. And now I'm gonna make the rails, or some people call it the cushions. These are some prototypes that I'm showing for reference, but before I do that, I'm just making some reference lines so that I know how far these cushions need to sit. And to make these cushions, just use a rectangular piece of cardboard, and I'm trying to make it look a little fancy, kind of having a bit of a trapezium shape, but you can make it entirely look like a rectangular prism. I'm using a barbecue skewer so that it kind of helps me establish a fold. Once these folds are flexible, you can apply some hot glue and start to create these bends. So you want to create a bunch of them, and since I don't have a long piece of cardboard, I had no other option but to create several of them and attach 2 of them together to create a longer piece. Now it's time to experiment some things, so I just used one of my pool balls and tried to strike it against the cushion, and it doesn't really have a big deflection. So I added a little strip of cardboard to add some height, and you might not notice the immediate difference, but this provides a better deflection. So I encourage you to add a little strip of cardboard underneath for that little additional height. I'm now covering this side of the cushion using some duct tape. This not only looks great and shiny, but it's also covering that little hot gluey surface. Just take your time, rock it against your cutting mat, and make sure you have a flush surface. This is an optional step, but you may do so. I'm using some cardstock to hide the edge of the cushion. Once you prepare all of these cushion pieces, you're ready to attach them onto the surface. And this is where all those reference lines come in handy. You don't want certain holes to have a bigger entrance than the other holes. Now let's focus on the roundabout, or I would say the holes, where I don't know what you call them, the pockets. But essentially this is a little prototype that I'm showing you. And to create that, we're first going to take a strip of cardboard and peel out the top layer. This is where corrugated cardboard comes in handy. But once you've established that beautiful curvature, you're ready to now stick that on top of a square piece of cardboard. I use my pen to mark the entrance reference marks, and that's how I know how spacious this curvature needs to be. And I really want to emphasize that these measurements, though they will be provided in the planner, your version will be slightly different than mine because every build is going to be a little different, so feel free to make it your own. You want to take the time when doing these type of steps because they are pretty lengthy. You are going to have to do this 6 times, so you will get competent as you go. But just take your time, be patient, and you're going to produce a wonderful outcome. Now I'm slightly cutting it just so that I'm able to establish a fold, just like how we did with the cushions. I also like to use my barbecue stick to strike it through the creases. That helps me establish a better fold. Let's use some duct tape again, and if you didn't know, this project will be entirely decorated using this red duct tape, so if you plan to do the same, grab yourself a couple of them. But as you're doing these steps, one thing you just have to always keep in mind, make sure there are no wrinkles because they suck. I'm using the same pizza slice technique to curl these pieces up and fold it over. It just has a better look. Just want to quickly mention, if you're finding value in this content so far, please hit that like button and subscribe for more similar content. Once you're happy with the pockets and the looks, you're now ready to use your hot glue and stick it over to the corners of the pool table. To make the middle holes, the same philosophy applies as the corner holes, but the design is just a little different. Once the pockets are attached to the cushions, I like to further reinforce them by using some more hot glue. So just repeat the same steps for all the pockets and use duct tape wherever needed. Guys, we're really in the home stretch now. She's looking gorgeous and clean. All that's left is to stick her up on top of the base, and just a couple more steps. So brace yourself because you have to be super duper quick. You want to apply some glue towards the middle portions of the cardboard. You don't really have to apply to every single edge, but just the middle ones are the most important. This is why we really want to have a hot glue. And once that is dried, you can take your time and attach the edges by slightly lifting it up. And with regards to any gaps with the pockets or anywhere, just use some hot glue to fill them up. And I now like to flip the whole thing over and use some more hot glue to further reinforce the top with the base. I also like to create a small ramp under the pocket, only for the corner pockets. This will allow the pool balls to kinda slide past and not get stuck in the corner. I continue to use more duct tape, not only for the looks, but it also acts as a good support to hold the top and the base together. And with the final step, I'm just gonna make the rack, or some people call it the triangle, essentially cutting out some strips of triangle and attaching 3 to 4 layers together to build the rack. So guys, we're done with this project. There's just one more thing to do, that is to play.